you miss 100% of shots that you don't take. You could be the most talented person in the room. You could be the smartest person in the room. You don't put in the hard work. You don't have discipline. A guy that is 50% less in IQ will still outperform you. There's no one to blame but yourself.
Some people will say this guy is lucky.
You could take me out of Bahrain and put me in any country in the world. I have that conviction that I'll make it work. Put in the effort, put in the hours, and you'll get to where you need to get to. You will.
What if I told you that you can get anything?
Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of BTX Elite Podcast. My guest today is the founder of LocalBH, the platform that turned local content into culture and become the voice of a generation while others chase virality. Saad Ahmed is a visionary, an architect of influence, and a relentless innovator whose stories proves that vision and discipline can rewrite the rules. Welcome, Habibi.
Thank you for having me, Bobby.
It's my pleasure, bro. Come on.
Habibi, good to see you, man.
You know, I feel like I hit the lottery.
Why?
What do you mean, why? You are traveling from 365 days a year?
That's true.
Like
That's
at least
true.
300 plus.
That's true. Yeah. No, man, thank you for having me. It's always good to see you. Always good to see all the great stuff that you've been up to. It was great seeing you at your offices the other day, too. So that was awesome. And I'm glad you're doing this. It's a great setup. You're a great speaker. I've seen some of the stuff that you've done with your other guests. Really cool stuff, man.
From where I'm getting my inspiration. From Saad Ahmed.
Bro, you're too kind. You're too kind. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, bro. You're doing fantastic. I mean, I remember the first day that I met you, wherever we met, I knew that you had something special from that point of view. Good stuff. Good luck on this podcast. And in any way, if we can support, we'll support you.
Habibi, really appreciate it.
Of course.
And this is only the beginning. So
It is.
step by step, slowly.
It is. Slowly, we'll get there.
The McLaren is there, parked in front of your building. Not quite there for my side, but
Yeah.
we're gonna reach there.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
We'll get there.
Hopefully 10 McLarens.
No need 10. It's fine. One is fine.
One is enough, huh?
One is fine for one day in the week.
You know, that's funny. I went to a guy's house the other day, and he had like 5 cars parked outside. So I'm like, this is a really nice car, and he said, this is my evening car. I'm like, what about this car? He said, this is my Saturday car. I'm like, man, this is the kind of you want to be aspire to be, where you have cars for specific times of the day and the week.
For now, I can say this is my suit for this evening. This is my socks for this morning.
That's true, man. That's true. So what does BTX stand for?
Bobby, last name Trajkovski, so
Okay.
BT. And I took the letter X in the end, which is a multiplier. There is a bigger meaning behind the X, which is power, focus, dedication, motivation, ambition, and all together as a multiplier.
Nice.
So, and in the end, a little small touch, elite, which is only for the elite, such
Nice.
as yourself.
I like it. Awesome. Really cool name.
Habibi.
But it's cool. It's a good touch. You put in a lot of detail into the little things. You know, even I can see on your shelves, you've really decorated it well. It's really cool.
Well,
Good stuff, man.
I know who is coming today, so it should be clean and neat.
Habibi, bro. Habibi.
Yeah.
Habibi.
Thanks to my cleaners yesterday. They did a fantastic job.
Yeah, man. Cool.
So the first question is always the same, which is, how are you today?
I am doing very well. I've had a very busy week. A busy 2 weeks, actually, in Bahrain. Bahrain's great, man. It's... whenever I come here, it's, socially, personally, professionally, you just get so busy. You meet so many people like you who are doing great things in life. Every time I come, there's always something new that's happening. So it's just great, man. Doing well.
So, from idea to impact, what was the hardest moment building LocalBH, and how did you break through it?
So LocalBH the way that LocalBH started was that it was always a passion project for me. It was something that I wanted to do for many, many years. So I'm going to take you back to when I was in university. So one of my first businesses in university was I used to give out free notebooks to students where they could take notes for class, and then I would sell ads within those notebooks. And that's how I monetized it. That's how I made money. It was a great side project. We had some of the biggest clients working with us in Bahrain. Very quickly, I realized it wasn't a very scalable business. So I got into the professional career of fintech and, all these other businesses. But in the back of my mind, I always wanted to make an impact in the world of media for millennials and now Gen Z. So during COVID, we started LocalBH. And really, it was because I saw around the world, people were not reading stuff of newspapers and print anymore. People were consuming news, consuming media digitally. In Bahrain, it was still very much print driven and print heavy. So I said, let's try it out. I didn't know how we're going to monetize. I didn't know if this was going to turn into a business. But what I knew was if I can deliver a product to young people that they love and they like to read or like to consume and really useful content, then as a result, we'll grow and we'll figure out the money part later. To your question on what's been the hardest, I think once it grew, the hardest moment for us was how do we turn something that is useful for people, that we want to continue to provide value, but also find a way to monetize it without losing the essence of what that product is. And I think a lot of people have that problem where they'll say, we want to provide a great customer service, but we also don't want to lose trust, or we don't want to lose people's when people open LocalBH, I want them to feel as though this is useful content, and so you wanna constantly maintain that. So that was, I think, some of the hardest moments of our growth. We quickly figured that out and resolved it by bringing in the right people on the team, by building right processes, by having strategies, and so on and so forth. So
I think it's more than a media platform. Me, for example, I'm using it every day, not only to check the news, but I think you guys are covering everything, from the weather conditions to the traffic things, to the restaurant, hospitality, news in the world. Like, how can you handle all of that?
That's a very good question. The goal of LocalBH was to build a community. It wasn't sort of, let's just go into news. It was, let's build a community and provide people with knowledge that first we want to hear. So first I think about what is it that I want to know about Bahrain, or what is it that would be useful to me. And so some of those things are, if I'm getting out of my house and I know there's going to be a traffic jam, I'd like to know that information. If somebody gave me that information, it'd be useful for me to know, right? So I was like, okay, this is cool. Let's give people that because it's useful. Bear in mind that when we started LocalBH, nobody else was doing this stuff. Like, people were just doing pure news. We wanted to build a community that was, let's talk about what people are talking about inside their living rooms, but bring it to the digital sphere and allow for there to be conversation around it. So when we talk about traffic, we know that other people are also talking about traffic. When we talk about news, we talk about news that we know people are talking about and want to engage with and want to talk about. So it wasn't a very traditional approach to news and media. It was more so, how do we give the community what they want and what they're already talking about? And so that's how we do it. We have very conventional and unconventional ways of sourcing news. So we have content creators on the ground who are in malls every day interviewing people, asking them what's their favorite karak, their favorite shawarma, their favorite Bahraini place to go, controversial topics like things around marriage and cultural aspects of it. Then on the other side, we have regional news, GCC related news, Bahrain related news. But everything that we post, we want to make sure that it is actually useful. Because you open a newspaper, you'll find 100 articles that you don't really care about. It's not something that you're passionate about. And so we didn't want it to be that. We didn't want to inundate people with anything and everything. And so that's our strategy. Our content is run by young people, millennials and Gen Z, people like us. And so really, if you are the content creator that comes from that age, and that part of society, it's very easy to talk to people again from that part of society and age group.
And you are creating fantastic ideas for gossiping. When you're gonna post something that people will be a little bit shocked, they will say, you know what, this happened there. How do you know? LocalBH posted just right now.
Yeah, that's true. We've seen. So that's the other part of it. That how do you take the digital into the offline world? And I never thought that LocalBH would become what it's become now. Today, we are the top 5 most recognizable, I would say, brands in the country, not just from a media perspective, just from a brand perspective. We have created a shift in the way that people consume media. We created the digital wave of what content media is in Bahrain. And so for me, that's a super proud moment, but also puts you in a position of authority that you have to take seriously and responsibly. So, authentic news is important. It's not just about, creating conversation. It's also about creating authority, creating trust, being able to, so that when somebody says, I saw this on LocalBH, they should also, the other person should feel as though there is some authority to it. And that's something that we build on every day.
LocalBH isn't just a media platform. It's a movement.
Thank you.
What vision did you see before the rest of us even looked?
Yeah, so look, I didn't, like I said, I didn't see it to be what it has become. And this is something that I talk to my team about a lot, because we are now in several businesses. We have LocalBH tickets. We sell tickets to Formula One in Bahrain. We sell tickets to Formula One in Jeddah, in Saudi. We work with the General Authority for Sports in Saudi Tourism Authority, Bahrain Tourism Authority, and we work very close with the local governments to promote tourism in the places that we operate. And so if you had asked me 5 years ago when we started LocalBH, would you have envisioned LocalBH to be what it is today, which is that it works so closely from the top all the way down? No. But if I was to go back and think, what were the things that made us successful and helped us to get to where we were? It's one thing and one thing only. We did not think about competition. We didn't consider competition. We didn't even think about who the other players are and what they're doing. We just thought about creating the best product that we can possibly create, that people find useful, that people will want to say, hey, I want to know what's the best breakfast place in Bahrain. And they'd go and they'd search on LocalBH, and that wasn't something we were saying that these are the 10 best breakfast places. We were asking people, what are your favorite breakfast places? What's your favorite Italian? What's your favorite dermatologist? What's your favorite shawarma place? Because this was user-generated content, we felt people would love that. And as we created that, the product grew, and it became what it's become. And so I think, like I always tell young entrepreneurs, I always tell my own team, when building a product, don't look so closely at your competitors or your competition. Do the best you can do, and people will follow, people will come.
You even shift the people to go from TripAdvisor, Google reviews, and some other platforms that they can actually see it, the restaurant menu or the reviews itself, to check, as you said, what's the favorite breakfast place in Bahrain.
Yeah.
Let me check in LocalBH, because that is genuine experience from the people itself that they are living in Bahrain.
Yeah. And really, you have to be your product's number one customer. And if at any time you feel as though, like for example, for me, if I want to, now I'm coming back to Bahrain after a few months. The other day, I actually wanted to know what's a really great breakfast spot. I went on Google and I searched best breakfast spot. And obviously you'll have reviews, you'll have TripAdvisor, you'll have whatever. I was like, let me just go on LocalBH. And I went on LocalBH and I searched what's the best breakfast place. And I found the top 1, 2, 3, and I felt like I could trust it. And because I felt like I could trust it, I know that other people would feel the same way. And so you have to be you have to believe that your product is actually helpful to you first and to your friends, and truly believe it. And then only will it be helpful to the rest of the country.
Not only you are seeing it from our perspective, but you are also feeling it.
Yeah.
And then you are just sharing to everyone so they can have the same experience.
Yeah. You should always have a third-party perspective to your business, because we get passionate about the things we build, and we build an emotional connection to it. And so always look at your product as though you were just a follower of LocalBH, or you were just a stranger to LocalBH. Maybe you're a tourist. Maybe it's the first time you're coming to Bahrain. And we do a lot of this stuff. So like around Formula One, we'll know that there's going to be a lot of people that are coming to Bahrain that don't know what is the best anything. For example, like the best food, the best place to go, the best tourism spot, the best whatever. And so we'll create a lot of content geared towards those type of visitors. But then I will look at it from the perspective of, if I was a visitor in Bahrain and I opened this list, is this something that'd be useful to me or not? And if I look at it and it's sort of, no, it's not really useful, we'll redo it and make it as impactful and useful as possible.
How is the process of approvals going for a post on LocalBH? Because for sure there will be some sensitive information sometimes that you will post. So who is the final approval? Who is giving the final approval about it?
In the early days, we were all very hands-on, but we set some really strong guidelines as to what are things we're willing to talk about and what are things we're willing to discuss and what are things we're not going to touch. So things like politics, religion, negative news, things that are overly geopolitical. We don't really touch on those topics. So those topics, because we don't touch on it, don't really need approval. The things that may need approval is if we try and turn a negative sort of piece into a positive piece. And so there'll always be a certain type of approval process required in terms of how do we word this without it offending anyone or a certain side of society. And so those things require approval process. And then for that, we have a regional content director who does a fantastic job at this. We have content creators for every region, because now we're not just in Bahrain, we're in 8 cities. So we have the regional content director who looks at all the cities. Then you have content managers for each of the cities. And then you have content creators, content writers, you have video content producers. You have someone that does operations, strategy, and traffic. So they will, so a lot of the sponsored posts will go through them. Then you have sponsored content writers that just focus on work that we do for clients. And so it's an entire process. We use a lot of tools like Monday.com, Slack. We have daily stand-ups, stand-downs. We have weekly ingenuity sessions where we look at what went well last week, how many views we got in each region, what type of content performed really well, what do we need to double down on, what do we need to scale down on. And we're constantly learning. So I think with LocalBH and platforms like us, what has been really impactful for us is we have now created thousands and thousands and thousands of pieces of content. Bear in mind, we post close to 600 or 700 pieces of content a month. So what that does for us is it provides tremendous amount of data. We get data on what people like, what are people consuming, what age segment are they in, what ethnic group do they fall in, and then what are new content ideas that has been useful or not been useful. And because we have so much data now over 5 years across 8 cities, we can then optimize that and we can say, okay, we know now that this is what works. We'll create content standards around it where we'll say, over the last 5 years, this is what's worked. Over the last 12 months, we've seen there's been a shift in content or content consumption from static to video or short form to long form and vice versa. And then we'll try and optimize that as much as possible. Every day we're trying new things, right? So we'll try a new segment and we'll look at that. And then we'll look at sort of the graph of where the viewership fell. We'll be like, okay, 40 seconds in, people fell, the attention dropped. Why? And maybe this is why. And so the next video we'll try and fix it. And we'll see, okay, now that's gone up a little bit. Let's maintain that. And there's a whole science behind it and just data optimization.
How much preparation we are talking about in terms of schedule posting? Is it one day? Is it daily? Is it 3 days in advance?
So some posts are schedulable, posts that are not time sensitive. So you'll have breaking news, things that'll happen immediately. Like for example, if Bahrain announces something that is, everyone is talking about it, that's trending, that you can't schedule because it could happen at 9 in the morning and you have to post it at 9 in the morning. Sometimes what will happen is, say there's a football game between Bahrain and another country, and that's at like 12 a.m. or 1 a.m. So we'll know that, okay, at 1 a.m. Bahrain's playing this football team. We need to schedule 2 types of posts. One that Bahrain won and one that Bahrain lost. We don't know what's going to happen, right? But we'll have both those pieces ready. So if Bahrain won, then we'll post this. If Bahrain lost, then we'll post that. And so a lot of that planning goes on in the background. Yeah.
Most people chase virality. You build influence. What's the difference And why does it matter?
That's a good question. That's actually a really good question, and I think I'll have to dial back to what I said initially, which is that in order to build authority, you need to be able to build a really great product that seems authentic. So to the users today in the online world, it's very easy for them to understand when somebody's trying too hard, when somebody's trying too hard to become viral, somebody's just doing it for views, or are you genuinely creating content that is useful for people to consume and watch? And so there's one aspect of it that says, if you want to create virality, there's a formula. Start with a hook. The hook should be X or Y. Go in with whatever and end it like that. Keep it short, keep it engaging, keep it whatever. And all those formulas are great. But what happens then is that everybody then has a cookie cutter approach and everyone's doing the same thing, which is, did you know that blah, 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 blah is blah, blah. Or this is how I made $10 million in the last 10 days. And those type of hooks are great. But you also sort of lose authority there, because the objective of the content creator there is to gain as much views as possible, or like you said, achieve virality. But if you're going there and thinking about user first, that is this going to be useful to the person watching it, then you start to build authority, because people want to listen, people want to hear, people want to understand what is it that you're trying to provide to them in the form of value. And so that's how we sort of create authority. But then also we take the digital into the offline. So we have brand partnerships and sponsorships of some of the largest events in Bahrain, like Brave, for example, like Formula One. Almost every trade show or exhibition, you'll see LocalBH's logo in the offline world. You will do events. We're going to be coming up with a few more events. And so I think once you take the digital to the offline and people see your logo in real life, not just digitally, then there's a lot of authority that's built there too.
You have redefined how people consume local content. How do you turn content into culture?
Community. I'd say community. If I had one word for it, it'd be community. I think your community creates a culture. I think if you do anything on your own, you'll only go as far. But if you do it with the help of the community, you sort of create a culture around it, because and very early on, we worked very closely with content creators across Bahrain. So we work with musicians, graffiti artists, doctors, health and wellness guys, fitness, yoga, you name it. And so by collaborating with them, they grew, we grew, and we were part of the culture that surrounds LocalBH today.
And plus you are interacting with all the viewers.
Yeah.
I think almost every day you are making a questionnaire, or you have a specific day of the week.
Yeah, so we have several content formats. One of a really popular one is We Asked, You Answered. So we'll ask people questions like, what's your favorite this? Or what do you think about this? Or what do you think about that? And we'll get thousands of comments where people will say, and then they'll talk to each other and try and figure those things out. And I think that really builds community and culture around the things that we do. But yeah, so look, just local content creators, aspiring, talented people who are looking to get their work showcased. Every single day we'll post a picture of Bahrain, but by doing so, we're highlighting photographers in Bahrain, and we'll tag them and we'll say, here's a photographer who took a picture of this. They love that. We'll post other people's work. We have this thing every week called Local Artist and Spotlight. So we'll post different artists every week on a Thursday, on a Friday. We'll organically post merchants that other people have recommended. And so really that's how you build a community, and you become a part of the culture and sort of become an everyday household name.
Well, covering everything related to Bahrain and outside of Bahrain, the trust, it's bigger now.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a friend of mine contact me the other day. He's a content creator, and he's starting to create content on YouTube. He went on ChatGPT and he asked ChatGPT, how do I build authority for my video that I'm posting on YouTube? And he showed me what ChatGPT said to him. ChatGPT said, write on your video as seen on LocalBH. And that just goes to show that like we've built such an authority around the brand that we've created that just by name or association, there's some level of trust that's built with that audience.
What fuels your growth mindset, especially when the wins are big and the pressure is bigger?
My growth mindset, what fuels it? Man, honestly, it's...
I'm picking your brain now.
Yeah, that's a good question. I've always had a growth mindset. I don't wanna. It's just something I think that comes innate to me, which is that I've been passionate about entrepreneurship. I've been passionate about creating products that are useful to people, and money is sort of a byproduct of everything that we do. Really, the joy and pleasure I get from like in building any business is when I can see people using it and loving it. And for me, that plays a big role in everything that I do, and that sort of fuels my growth. And so if I can see that you've liked it, or if somebody says, hey man, a merchant comes to me and says, hey man, thank you for posting this on Thursday night or Friday, we were packed because you posted that. I don't make any money out of him being packed the whole night, but the pleasure I get from hearing stuff like that is really what fuels that growth mindset. Yeah, so I think just seeing people using the products that we build, it just fuels it more and more.
What does discipline look like behind the scenes of success that loud?
I think discipline is the most important part of your entrepreneurship journey, or really any journey. If you're getting into podcasting or you're getting into anything, I think consistency, discipline, all of that is really important. Being able to wake up every morning, whether or not you think it's going to be successful or not, but doing and putting in the work, being relentless about it. We didn't take holidays for a really long time. We were working, we had this, it's a very popular term in the VC world called 996, which is start at 9 a.m., end at 9 p.m. and work 6 days a week. And we employed that across all the products and businesses that we've built, which is that you have to put in the effort. You have to be disciplined. You have to be the first one in. You have to be the last one out. You have to be relentless in trying to pursue your vision and your goals and your dream, because if you don't, then there's no one to blame but yourself. And I'm pretty hard on myself that way. Somebody asked me the other day, how do you handle failure? And I said, the only way that I feel that I failed is if I didn't put in the effort. If I put in 200% and I did everything that I possibly could, and I realized where I failed, and then I relearned and again put in the effort, and I did all of that and I still failed, I don't take it personally. I think it's fine. You know, God had better plans for me. But if I don't put in the effort, if I don't have the discipline, if I'm not doing all of those things, then that is a failure that I'll take very personally. So discipline is extremely important, and the values of, you know, things our parents taught us and things we've learned over the years around hard work, showing up, being there, putting in the hours. Nothing in the world can replace that. You could be the most talented person in the room. You could be the smartest person in the room. You could be the most educated person in the room. You don't put in the hard work, you don't have discipline. A guy that is 50% less in IQ, 50% less in education will still outperform you, just because he has better discipline than you, just because he wakes up earlier than you, just because he puts in those hours, just because he's constantly learning and self-learning and developing himself. So I think I'm super passionate about this, because it's a topic that I'm constantly talking to my team, my founders, my co-founders, and my partners about, which is that you've got to have that. You have to have that. And we're relentless about it, man. Like, if you don't have that, then you know, just with my co-founders, we are very sort of judgmental, where we're like, well, did you really work hard? We'll joke with each other, where we'll say, I'll go to my co-founder and I'll be like, seems like you didn't really work that hard today, and he'll take it personally, and I'll take it personally, and so we keep ourselves in check in that way.
You hype me up now, even though I'm working 18 to 20 hours a day.
How many hours of sleep do you get every day?
Maximum 5 hours.
Really?
6 days a week, I'm sleeping in an average up to 5 hours. I'm not sleeping more than 5 hours.
And you're okay the rest of the day on 5 hours of sleep?
The thing is, as you said, discipline. I am very disciplined in terms of my fitness and my lifestyle, what I'm consuming.
Yeah, you
to my
look
body.
great, man.
Habibi. And after this, we're hitting the gym together, okay? And it helps me a lot. It's helped me a lot to be laser focused.
Yeah.
And not to be that much tired, because everything takes time. Sometimes I even feel that I can do more, as you said, and I am saying to myself, I know I can do more. The majority of the people are saying you need to slow down.
Right.
What do you mean slow down? Slow down. The time is ticking. We don't have time. I learned this not like in my 20s. I think in my 30s. Even though now I'm 37, but 30 plus. I think there is a period of 20 to 25. Your mindset is focusing in one way. 25 to 30, it's on another way. 30 plus, 30 to 35, it's the shift. It's either the shift of a maturity shift, or you will have the complainers. I don't have time. I'm busy. And what I told you before we even start, busy doesn't mean that you are productive. And I love to be productive because there is no time. But sometimes I feel like I can do more.
Yeah.
I can do more.
Yeah.
As you are not stopping. Now I think you can sleep nicely.
Not at all, man. I barely sleep as well. I mean, we have, it's not just, we have LocalBH, we have the 8 cities, we have the tickets, we have an ad agency called Carolina Mir, one of the premier ad agencies in Bahrain. We have Use Local, which is the QR code payment system that we just started. So it's, multiple companies, over 100 something people. It's difficult. It's you snooze, you lose, basically. So
that was nice. You snooze, you lose.
You snooze, you lose. So we have to be we're on top of things pretty much all the time. But going back to your point about 30s and 20s, that's absolutely right. And I think in your 20s, you don't have much to lose, right? You can mess about if you have to, even for 5 years. You could do whatever you want to. You don't have much to lose. And in your 30s, you start to realize you have a lot to lose by wasting time. And it's that mentality shift. And I always tell young people in their 20s that take those risks in your 20s. Take those shots, because you don't have much to lose, right? It's like when you go to a supermarket and you buy in the US and you buy a lottery ticket and you scratch the lottery ticket. The only thing you're going to lose is maybe $1 or 50 cents or whatever. But what you could get is a lot more if you do win, right? And in your 20s, it's like that. You could take so many risks. You could go and start a business and fail, start another business and fail, start another business and fail. And a lot of people think that success looks like this, where you start a business and all of a sudden you're making tons and tons of money. The way I look at it is that you start a business, you might fail. You start another business, you might fail. You start another business, you might fail. But when you stack up your failures and you stack up your experiences, the one time you start a business that will become successful, all of those 5 experiences will count. And so I don't see them as failures. And I think it's super important in your 20s to be able to stack those, think about it from a failure point of view, even if you have to. Be like, I want to stack up those failures. It's going to build my experience for what I do in my 30s or for what I do in my late 20s. Perhaps one of those things works out. But if it doesn't, all the failures you've had, or all those experiences that you've had, is the reason now you're successful, or is the reason now your businesses are doing well.
I can guarantee if you try it, regardless which industry you want to pursue, open a business or whatever, I can guarantee that if you don't try, 100%,
You'll fail.
You'll fail.
100%.
100%.
Yeah, agreed.
If you try, at least you tried, and there is a percentage that you will succeed.
Yeah, I mean, there's a famous quote around it, which is that you miss 100% of shots that you don't take. But I think the reason people don't take that shot, especially when they're young, is the fear of being embarrassed by your community or your friends, or what if I do this, what is my friend gonna think of me? If I go create a video and I start talking about it, what are people around me gonna think of me? If I start this business and it fails, what is people gonna think about me? Bro, I don't remember half my friends from my 20s. And now if you look back and you think about, I was afraid of what these people used to think. I don't even remember who they are anymore. I still have my top 3 friends from my 20s and whatever, but if you remember in your 20s, you have 100 friends and you know everybody and whatever. Like, you have to do things despite the fact that you're embarrassed. Stephen Bartlett, a famous podcaster, he was on the top 10 best podcasters in the world, and they asked him, if you could leave somebody with one secret to your success, what would it be? He said that get over your fear of embarrassment. That's it. Get over your fear of embarrassment.
I saw Mel Gibson saying on one podcast.
Yeah.
He said, public humiliation. And that hit deep. And then he said, I don't care. I don't care anymore. Just, I will go for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
100% right.
100%, man.
For the young founder with a big idea and no roadmap, what's your real advice, but not the filter version?
My real advice for people that want to start a business is, I think we've covered a lot around stuff like, get over your fear of embarrassment. If you're in your 20s and even in your early 30s, take risks. If you're in your 30s, you're not married, you don't have kids, take risks. Try the thing you've always wanted to try out. A lot of people don't try out things because they fear they don't have money, they don't have financial backing, they don't have access to capital. We started LocalBH as an Instagram page. We were on Canva, we were posting stuff, required no money. Instagram's free, Facebook's free. And today, in the age of AI, if you look at tools like Bolt AI and Cursor and others, you could build apps in seconds. You could build websites in seconds. There is so much possibility in 2025 for young people to be able to make money and to be able to create things. It's the kind of stuff that we never had access to. We had to learn. We had to learn how to graphic design. We had to learn how to create websites. We had to hire an accountant to help us understand how things work. We had to read these books that you see behind us. Today, information is at your fingertips within seconds. You could have the ability to have the best lawyer in the world working for you if you use the right AI tools, or the best technology consultant, or the best whatever. You could have access to all this information. There's really no excuse. I see no excuse for someone wanting to start a business and saying, well, I don't have the right tools. You have all the right tools. It's all available. It's on your fingertips. Today more so than ever.
Ale Hormozi said this. It's so easy to win, equivalent to it's so easy to lose in this time, 2025.
True, absolutely. There's a tremendous amount of opportunities today. Tremendous amount of opportunities to make money. If I wasn't doing what I'm doing right now, there's probably going to be 10 other things that I could be doing. We're definitely in a very interesting era with AI and with everything else that's going on. So I'm not sure where it's going to go, but I think it's promising.
When did you shift your mindset when you said excuses are useless? There is no point of excuses. Everybody is doing excuses. I will start training on Monday. I will start my brand next week. New year, new me.
Yeah. I think from a very young age, I knew I wanted to be successful. I knew I wanted to have impact from a very young age, from like the early, when I was 18, 19. I knew I wanted to make an impact. One, for the reasons that I've discussed, which is that, I like building things that people like to use. But also, I didn't want to live a mediocre life. I wanted to live a life that where I could live up to my maximum potential and ability. And so when you have that type of mindset where, like everybody wants to be rich, right? Everybody, when you're young, when you're 19, 20, ask any 19, 20-year-old, do you want to be a millionaire? He'll be like, yeah, I want to be a millionaire. One day I'll be a millionaire. One day I'll have a private jet. One day I'll have, whatever I'll have. How many of those people then go out and actually do the things they're supposed to do to be able to get there? In today's world of sort of Instagram and social media, a lot of people have this mentality of get rich quick, where they'll watch a crypto thing and they'll say, oh, if I had invested in whatever coin, I would be a millionaire right now. And everyone just wants to make money quick, just because there's so many rich people, quote unquote, on Instagram that are flexing and that are doing all this stuff. But it requires the pain that we discussed, which is that, like you, for example, were saying you work 20 hours a day, you sleep five hours a night. You're doing it all the time, every single day. There's no way that you're not going to be successful if you're doing all the right things consistently, time over time. And so I think it's really important for people to understand that put in the effort, put in the hours, and you'll get to where you need to get to. You will.
With expectation or without?
That's a really good question. So this young guy once asked me, he messaged me on Instagram, and he was, I think, 21 or 22. And he said, Saad, all my life I wanted to buy a Corvette. And he said, I started this business and now I've made 30,000 BD. I saved it. I can finally buy the Corvette. Do you think I should buy it? Or do you think I should go and invest it into my business and continue to grow it? I gave him a very unconventional advice. Maybe some business influencers will say, no, take that money and invest it into the business. I said, go buy the Corvette. The reason I said go buy the Corvette is because I feel like sometimes people don't know what they're striving towards if they haven't experienced it yet. You don't know you want a private jet or you want to fly business class if you've never seen business class. You don't know that you want to stay in a 5-star hotel if you've never walked into a 5-star hotel. You don't know that you want to wear a nice suit if you've never tried on a nice jacket before. Right? Even if you're not doing well, if you haven't walked into Louis Vuitton or, Loro Piana and tried on their shoes or tried on their jackets. I remember when I was very young, I used to go into car dealerships, didn't have the money. I would sit in it and I would talk to the sales guy, negotiate with him. I don't have a single fills. Like, no. 30,000 is too much. Do it 25. I would be like, give me a quotation. He would give me a quotation. I'd go back, I'd look at the quotation. And back in the day, we used to burn CDs for music. And I would burn a CD for that car. I'd be like, tomorrow when I buy that car, I'm going to play it. I'm going to listen to it. In my mind, I knew that these things exist and I want to strive towards achieving those things. It's a different topic once you achieve it, then how do you stay happy and whatever. But I think when you're young, and I was telling this guy to buy the Corvette because go and experience it. It will motivate you to work harder, to want to get the Ferrari next, to want to get the Lambo next, to want to experience those things next. So I think having aspirations is important. Some people have altruistic aspirations or aspirations that are larger than life, like Elon Musk going to Mars and solving, population and solving green energy challenges and all of that. And those people obviously do it for those reasons. And then some people do it because they just want to be materially rich. And whatever your reasons are, try and put yourself in that position, experience it a little bit.
What do you want to be remembered for? Not in the headlines, but in hearts.
I want to be remembered for being a good person, I think, first and foremost. I want to be known for a person that created opportunities for people, but then I also want to be remembered for leaving an impact to the younger generation to be able to pursue their dreams, pursue their goals. I always tell people that your life's impact is measured by how many people show up to your funeral and say he was a good man. And I always ask myself this question, that if I was to die tomorrow or whenever, how many people are going to come and say this was a good guy? And if I think to myself that there is a chance that there's going to be some people that might say, no, this guy was not that good, then I reevaluate myself and try and be that person. And so even in business from very early days, we used to talk about things like, we've had situations where we might not have to pay something or we might not have to do something, but we'll still do it because we'll say, you know what, it's important that we do those things. So I would want to be, I think I'd want to be remembered for those reasons. And yeah, that's the way I look at it.
When did you realize, I am no longer building a brand, I'm building history?
I think once people started to say he's the founder of LocalBH to random people, and random people were like, oh wow, nice to meet you. I was like, shit, people know me, people know the brand, and these were strangers, and these were people I didn't know, and it used to happen constantly. And then I realized, wow, we've built a brand that has really shaped digital media and sort of the business landscape in Bahrain. And I think when we had that realization, I realized that we have a responsibility now. We have a responsibility to uphold those same standards. We have a responsibility to maintain that quality. And that's when the pressure and the ante sort of like kicked in. Earlier, it was just us having fun and trying to create the best thing possible. And so I guess that's when we realized, I don't know if we've created history yet. I think we're still a long way to go from there. I think still very early days. It's only been 5 years. And we're still creating, we're still evolving. The industry is changing. So we have to stay up to the trends and keep up with it.
5 years and 8 cities. It's a huge responsibility.
Yeah.
And I think it will grow more and more.
Yeah,
That's a lot on your shoulders.
I'm lucky to have a great team. So my co-founder Ali, who's been my co-founder partner in a variety of businesses, still is, looks after a lot of the business. We've grown this together. The rest of my team, I would say, today maybe I'm doing 5% of the work. 95% of everything we do is the team. So all my credit goes to sort of my co-founders, my team, the people who have helped make this what it is today. We started it, and then the team sort of did what they did. And so proud to have a good team. I think it's super important. It's the most underrated thing. I think you have to have a good team. You have to have good people by your side. You have to have a good partner, founder, co-founder, and they should have shared values. And those values don't necessarily have to be discipline and hard work. Those are important things, but you should be able to work with them. You should want to feel like you enjoy working with them. Work with people that you don't mind going on a holiday with. Work with people who you can joke with, who you can laugh with, who sometimes you will cry with, who sometimes you will have the most stressful moments in life with, but you know that you will make an impact together if you're able to build that type of relationship with your team. And so I'm grateful to have that, and I think we wouldn't be able to have 8 cities or to be able to build all these products if it were not for the team, the co-founders that we have.
What is the one line that defines how you move through life and business?
The one line that defines how I move through life, I don't know if I have one line, but I would say fearless. One word. I don't have fear in my dictionary. We just do it.
So without fear, Saad, we are entering the BTX bonus round.
Nice.
What is your morning routine?
I wish I could say something super inspirational. Like, I wake up at 5 in the morning, I go for a jog, I meditate, and I don't have a morning routine. I wake up, if I have time for breakfast, I'll have breakfast. If I don't have time for breakfast, I'll get to work. And I think the thing that's helped me the most from a work perspective is lists. So I'll have 2 types of lists that I'll create every day. They're sort of like to-do lists. And the way I categorize them is to-do list with dependencies and to-do lists without dependency. And the way I look at it is, a lot of times we get really stressed out about so many things, and we think about, I have to do this and I have to do that and I have to do this and I have to do that, and you just automatically stress your own self out and you can't do anything, you have no clarity. And Jeff Bezos said this very, very famously, where he said, most people are stressed out because they have things on their to-do list that they have not done. And that's why they're stressed out. And then a lot of entrepreneurs will say, and a lot of people will say, the only way to sort of tackle through the things that you have to do is work on your hardest problems first. So the way that I'll categorize those 2 lists, I'll say to-do lists, things that I can do personally. I don't need anybody else. I don't need my team. I don't need anyone's input. I'm not waiting for a supplier. I'm not waiting for a client. I'm not waiting for anybody to tell me what to do. These are things I can do. Then I have a separate list, which is with dependencies. So I'm waiting for the bank to get back to me. I'm waiting for a supplier to get back to me. I'm waiting for a client to email me. I need to talk to my co-founder about this before I can move forward. These are third-party dependencies on other people. So I'll tackle the list that I can do on my own first. And once that's done, then I'll look at the lists with dependencies. And the reason I do this is because when I look at the list with dependencies, I now know that the things I have control over, I was able to tackle. And the things that I don't have control over, I'll try and tackle. But if I can't because they still have dependencies, then it's not something I should stress over because I don't have control over it. So that's really important for me to do in the morning. And then that defines the rest of my day and things that I have to do in that day. I'll also block out times in my calendar, 1 or 2 hours a day where it's completely quiet, where I need that time to, tackle emails or reflect and things like that.
What quote do you live by?
So since I was young, I believed in this quote called, "This too shall pass."
My God, I love that.
You like that quote?
Oh my God, really, I love it.
And it comes from a story, I don't know if you know the story, of a guy, it's a longer story, but I'll shorten it, of a guy who, there's a king back in the day, thousands of years ago, who's always happy. He's never sad. Whether it's raining, whether it's not raining, whether it's flooding, whether it's whatever, and someone goes and asks him, what is your secret to happiness? And he gives him a ring, and inside the ring it says, "This too shall pass." And the king says, this is my secret to happiness, that whether there is a storm or whether I'm happy, I know that this moment will pass. So I remember when I was younger, I wanted to get it tattooed, but I didn't do it. So I constantly believe that. If I could be in the most stressful situation in the world, I'll do that. I'll just be like, this too shall pass. And that's that. But I think another thing that's really helped me out was something Sam Altman said from OpenAI, where he said that no matter what you're going through or the hardest thing you're going through, try to shift your mindset to start enjoying the hard stuff. Tell yourself, this is hard, but I'm going to start to look at it positively. I'm going to start to say, I'm enjoying this hard. And I think once you start to change that mindset into, this is difficult, but I'm going to just enjoy it, the game changes from there on. Then you just start enjoying all the hard stuff too.
I love that quote, by the way.
This too shall pass, yeah.
My God, that one is one of the best quotes in the life, I think.
It's a game changer, right?
It's a game changer.
Because everything passes. Every moment, happy, sad, all of it passes. You have a child now, right? So I'm sure you appreciate that even more.
I appreciate every single moment of it.
Yeah.
Even in good moments and in bad moments.
Yeah.
I know for a fact, you know as well, that this too shall pass.
This moment will never come back.
Exactly.
Right? So
we need to cherish that moment.
Absolutely,
we need
man.
to enjoy every moment.
Yeah. And you said it at the beginning of the podcast where you said we're literally running out of time, which is true. We are. Yeah. So enjoy the goods, the bads, and everything that comes with it.
One habit you never skip.
The usual generic stuff like hard work and discipline is all there, but I think it's more of a innate thing within me. I believe in the fact that I am a lucky person. I believe in the fact that I have God on my side. I believe in the fact that whatever I do will work out. I always believe that. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. I don't really think about that. And I think I tell myself that every single day, no matter what I do, that I'm doing this is going to work out. I've been helped out in the past before. I've done so many hard things. I've started businesses, I've done whatever, and I am where I am today because it worked out and it will work out. So I have really strong conviction. Nobody can waver that conviction within me. You could take me out of Bahrain and put me in any country in the world. I have that conviction that I'll make it work. And so for me, I wouldn't call it a habit, but it's just really the way that I believe and think.
Some people will say this guy is lucky. I say to that, we are all lucky. We are breathing. We are alive. What are you going to say to that? To the people who are saying this guy is lucky?
I would say I agree. I think luck plays a massive part in your life. I think people like Talabat drivers work harder than me. I think the construction workers outside work 10 times harder than me. I think everywhere I am in life, I think 90% of it is probably luck. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely. 10% of it is everything else that I've done. But I 100% agree with that. I think the fact that we were born, the fact that we went to the schools we went to, the fact that we got the education that we have, the fact that we are in the Middle East, the fact that we are in all these places are things that were out of our control. We were just, we're here. And I think that luck plays a huge part in your socio-economic status or the education that you're given. So I completely agree.
But don't you truly believe that anyone can rebuild themselves?
Yeah, but some people have it easier than others, right? So for somebody that doesn't have, I'd say for a blue collar worker, it'd be a lot harder to build local BH than me, for example, just because of the sort of privileges that were afforded to me in the form of education and in the form of everything else that I've had. I know a lot of entrepreneurs say, look, it's not luck and hard work builds luck, and the harder you work, the luckier you get, and all of that. I don't buy that. I think sure, all those things are great, but luck plays a major role. Sometimes you'll meet somebody, say I know you now, right? And let's say from wherever you are now, you move to I don't know, Google, right? And now me and you are friends, and you have an opportunity for advertising, and you'll in Bahrain, because I know you, you'll call me and you'll be like, Saad, I'm now at Google. I have this opportunity for whatever. It was lucky that I met you. It was luck that I met you, and that you then moved on to an opportunity, and that I maintained a relationship with you. Maybe there's somebody that can do a better job than me, but you thought of me because you and me know each other. And so that's luck. And I think a lot of people come through opportunities like that in life that is just purely lucky.
Okay, we are talking about luck. I will give you an example. Nusret, Salt Bay. He was cleaning the dishes in the back of house before he even started cooking. And then he started cooking the steaks. And then he had only one moment that went ultra viral that everybody knows, which is the throwing the salt to the steak. What you gonna say to that in terms of luck? Because that was, yes, it's lucky, but that was a moment that he went out of his comfort zone, I think. Maybe he made it out of fun, but in the end he built a worldwide brand that everybody knows.
I agree, but
regardless it's successful or not.
Yeah, I agree. But do you think that there aren't other chefs or restaurant owners that create content or work as hard as he does?
There is even Michelin star chefs. Yes, I will not compare Gordon Ramsay now with Salt Bay.
Right.
But I'm just saying, starting from the lowest, that he was the cleaner in the back of house.
Yeah.
As you said, from the drivers to the cashiers in a supermarket.
Yeah, look, I mean, there's no substitute for hard work. I think, guys like Nusrat and whoever else obviously have worked their way through life and were able to get to where they are. I'm not saying that you just have to be lucky. You also have to put in hard work. You also have to, have the knowledge and constantly train yourself and constantly do all the things that you have to do to be successful. But you could have, so if me and you were on the same level of, say, education, intellect, hard work, creativity, all of that, then for one of us to succeed has to get lucky.
But I think we are building our luck somehow. If we don't do anything, nothing will change. If we try something, I'm super blessed and lucky that I have you now as my guest.
I agree. Not with that, but that I agree that, with that as well. But
I
agree.
You don't agree?
No, I agree with that. No, but I completely agree. Yes, we do build our luck too.
Yeah.
I completely agree. But I just think that luck plays a big role in where you end up in life.
What's your favorite place in the world?
I like living in Dubai now, which is great. I recently went to LA, which I really liked. And I think growing up, I really liked London. We used to go. I remember going there quite a lot, and I really liked the streets of London, the restaurants. I think now it's changed a lot. There's a lot of crime and a lot of challenges there, but I've always held a special affinity to London. I really liked it.
So it will be London, #1 place.
Yeah,
Saad book.
Yeah, but then I went there recently. I went last year, and a lot has changed, man. I mean, you can't
keep the good memories.
Yeah, I want to keep the
10
good
years
memories.
ago.
Yeah, I want to keep. I had those memories, and I went back, and I said, it's going to be the same. And this time I went, the guys were like, look, don't take your watch. Keep your phone in your pocket. Don't wear expensive clothes. And that's not comfortable. Like, you want to be in a place where you feel comfortable, where you can wear what you want to wear and not feel like you're going to be harassed. So, yeah, but from childhood, maybe London.
Lovely golf. The GCC, we love it here.
The Gulf is great, man. The Gulf is great. Bahrain is obviously home. Grew up here all my life. One of my favorite places in the world to come, just because I have great friends here. I was telling somebody that Bahrain is the only place in the world where I don't have to use Google Maps. The only place. You can tell me any corner and I'll be like, okay, this is where we want to go. So it's so comfortable. It's so nice. But yeah, man.
Finally, what's the one lesson that taught you the true value of life?
The one lesson that taught me the true value of life. I had a friend, and at the time we had a recruitment agency, and we were calling clients. It was one of the hardest businesses, man, to get into recruitment agencies because it's such a long sales process. But we were calling clients, and some of these clients were just ruthless. They just say, no, why are you calling us? Cold calling, because we used to cold call. And my friend had this one saying where every time we'd get to a rejection, he would say, on to the next one. And he wouldn't even let you think about it. And he'd just say, on to the next one, on to the next one, on to the next one. And I think that really shaped the way that I think about rejection, which is that don't let it foster within you. Just tell yourself, on to the next one. If this didn't work out, on to the next one, on to the next one. And so that's just sort of how I've now programmed myself to in a lot of ways for a lot of the things that we do.
Saad, this was a privilege to have you here as my guest.
It's my privilege.
Really,
bro.
I'm super grateful to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
What an impact you are making here to BTX and even to myself as well. I have a lot of things to learn from you.
Thank you.
And whoever is watching. So really, I would like to say thank you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Questions were really insightful. I think you're doing a great job, and it's an honor to be at BTX, and I wish you all the best with it. Can't wait for you to hit 1 million subscribers.
Step by step, we are going there, step by step.
For sure.
But again, thank you so much, Saad.
Thank you for having me.
And you, Habibi, thanks for watching, and see you next time. Habibi.
Good?
Not good, fantastic.
You liked it?
You are something else.